You're listening to The Critical Thought, where we challenge our listeners to use critical thinking when examining the teachings of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Hi, this is Lady C. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Critical Thought. And this particular series is about Jehovah's Witnesses, dating, and relationships. I'm going to be talking to Stephen, and he's going to be talking about how he was reeled in, hook, line, and sinker. Thank you so much, Stephen, for being on the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So Stephen reached out to me and wanted to be on my program as I was talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and relationships, because he has a story that he would like to share with our viewing audience about how he met a Jehovah's Witness and got involved, but he didn't realize all what he was in for. So Stephen's going to tell us a little bit about how they met. So Stephen, how did you meet your wife?
I met my wife at my previous job. I worked at this job for 2 years, and we were in the same department. And somehow we ended up crossing paths several times for trainings. And before you know it, we had a lot of conversations, just talking about life and the job and what we like. And it just went from that to me being like, I guess, seeing something about her. It was something about her that stood out to me. And a few of those things was just the way she carried herself, her whole like calm demeanor. She dressed really nice. Oh my God, she was one of the best dressed people at the job. She had this swag about herself. She was just very, very like well mannered. She didn't really dap in people's business. She had a very, very select few that she hung out with at the job. I'm very attracted to people that are not like trying to be seen all the time. I like people that's like in the in crowd, but not, I'm an out crowd, look at me. So she didn't like throw off a lot of attention. There are a lot of guys that worked there with us. A lot of the people were speaking highly of her, and she never like got the big head. She was just very, very calm and laid back. So very humble. I love that about her. She was very outspoken about what she felt and what she believed. She felt like somebody was treating somebody a certain way. She'd be like, that ain't right. That's not right. They need to do that better. I need to ask for forgiveness. She just was very, very outspoken about certain beliefs and values. And I have certain values too that aligned up with me. And I was like, she has to be a Christian. Like, she has to be a Christian, like to think this way. She has to be a godly woman. So seeing the godly qualities and the spiritual side kind of made me attract to that. So one of the things when it comes down to family oriented, I didn't know anything about her family until like we started like really being around each other. But she had a sister that would come up there and bring her lunch sometimes, and she has a daughter that's younger, a 10-year-old at the time. And she would bring her daughter up there. We had like different events, like company-wide events, and you would see her sister and her brothers and how they treat each other. They were very just tight, like very close. And I want to say it was just like, they made you feel like they were family being around them. You know how certain families like, hey, everybody, this is like very outspoken, very cool, but they had a very Southern hospitality type of mindset. It's like, really what it was like love bombing at its finest. They would love bomb anybody, like just get along with anybody, adapt to anybody. So I didn't know that there was a difference in like us versus them or cliquish. I didn't feel that. I felt like she made me feel welcome and warm, you know. She didn't curse. She didn't have a foul mouth. Like some of the people, coworkers I work with, when they get upset on the phone, they're like, you know, they're frustrated with their friends on their breaks, and the people she hung around was of the same caliber of standards that she stood by. So that's what I like too. I like association begets assimilation. You know, they say association spoils useful habits. So I'm sure that's one of her things she lives by.
So the presentation was really there, and you're looking at this woman, you're like, this is a perfect person to have a relationship with or whatever. Yeah. So who approached who first?
With me, I'm an outspoken guy. And so my dad always told me that if you like a woman, you like somebody, you know, be persistent, you know, show them that you're attracted to them, show them that it's something you see in them that stands out. So I started doing little small things like, hey, how's your day going? I would flirt a little bit, like, you look pretty today. You smell good today. And she used to be very mean at first, like, because she was just like kind of brush it off. And then I went to one of my coworkers on the floor at one point. I was like, what is the deal with her? Like, I really think she's attractive. She's so beautiful and so sweet. Like, is she spoken for? Is she married? Whatever. And this is a close friend of hers at the time. So she said, well, she's just coming out of actual divorce. She was married before for about 10 years to a guy that she knows. And I was like, oh, okay. So at that point, I kind of took a back seat and just let her know, like, hey, can you just tell her that, I think she's amazing. I would love to get to know her as a friend. And she told her. And it took about maybe 2 weeks or so. And then me and her had a conversation. And we talked about a lot. And from there, we became good friends before anything else. We were friends. So that's how it happened.
When did you find out that she was a Jehovah's Witness?
So we started going on lunch together a lot. And still having conversations about, like, just small things about on weekends. What do you do on weekends? What do you do in your spare time? What do your days look like when you're not doing anything? Do you like to, go hiking? Do you like going bowling, shooting pool, skating? And so some of the things she started to name, it sounded familiar to me. She said, I like to go to Bible study. I said, oh, I go to Bible study, at my church, So I'm like, okay. And so I never did ask deep questions then. I was like, okay, cool. Like, what church do you go to? Then that's when she said, oh, I don't go to church. I go to a Kingdom Hall. And I said, the Kingdom Hall? Okay, what is that? And then that's when she said, well, the Kingdom Hall, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. And we don't go to church. We go to Kingdom Hall. It's called Kingdom Hall. So oh, okay, cool. So it's just like a church. It's just a different name. She's like, yeah. So we didn't really go in depth about those things. But over time, we started talking about like holidays. Like we had a Christmas parties coming up at the job. And she was like, well, I'm not coming to that or whatever. I'm like, why? She's like, because I don't celebrate holidays. So that's when I started realizing, oh, she's a Jehovah's Witness, but I didn't know what that actually meant, like what that stood for. So.
Okay. So now, at what point did you all start getting serious in this relationship?
We started getting serious. It was maybe 6 months later, of like really just being friends and like being around each other. I was wondering why. Another thing too, I forgot to say about finding out she was a Jehovah's Witness. I was wondering why she didn't ever want us to go hang out by ourselves. I kept asking like, hey, let's go to the movies or let's go do this. Every time she wanted to go do something, she wanted to go outside of a vicinity of her area. Like we have a couple towns over that's maybe 15 to 20 minutes away. She would want to go out there to go to the movies or go out there to go out to eat or go to other places to be able to go hang out and spend time together. And I was wondering like, why she never wanted to do it inside the city? Like I could come to her house and visit, but she didn't want me to like us to go anywhere out and about. And that's because maybe I think now of the fear. Well, now that I know what I know of the fear of being seen by an elder or a brother-in-law or a sister, anybody like that, knowing that I wasn't Jehovah's Witness, I was just a worldly guy that she was interested in. So
that sounds about right. Where she's probably not expecting anybody to come to her place.
Yes, yeah, because they always call.
She went out. Then people will be like, who's this guy? I saw you at the mall. I saw you at the dinner. I saw you. Who is this guy?
Yes.
And she's right.
Yeah.
That would have happened. Yeah.
And at that point, if they, now that what I know, if they would have questioned her and said, he's not a Jehovah's Witness, who is he? Now she had to just say, he's a friend. For a long time, even after we were dating, she was still calling me this is a friend of mine that I work with, a co-worker. That's it. And never there. Even after we got serious, I was like, I'm just a friend? What? Okay, I guess so. And so it was like, do one thing with me, but it was a hypocritical thing. Like it was a totally different type of thing when around her mother, sister, brother, and family members. I was just like, it didn't make sense to me. But now I know she has to be chaperoned. And rightfully so. Ladies, see, what I've learned now is that she shouldn't even been dating me anyway. Because if you're a devout Jehovah's Witness, you're not supposed to even be dating or even conversing like that on that level with a worldly person, a worldly man. So.
Right, because they do not encourage you to date outside of the religion. So like I said in my previous video, it's like they will find someone because there's not a lot of brothers in the congregation. So the sisters will find a brother or a suitable mate.
Right.
And when you really weren't suitable though.
Look, I got earrings, I got hair on my face, I got all these things that she was trying to change about me. And like, why do you wear earrings? And why do you have your hair like, why don't you just like trim that down? And then especially after I started studying, like this book right here, What the Bible Really Teaches book. When I started studying with them, like studying with her brother-in-law, she was like, why don't you like start to really just do some study with us, where we do them like twice a week and here. And so I started studying with them. And she was like, well, once you know better, you do better. And like, you need to start making changes and doing this, especially if we're going to be serious. And I'm like, but I know who I am. I know I'm not a bad guy and all that, but she was just trying to get me to make those small little changes. So if I can clean up these things when I come to Kingdom Hall and visit, like when I came, I would look the part for her. It was all about a perception being reality.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so little did you know, she was grooming you.
Yeah,
To
recruitment.
accept those changes,
Yes.
to become this Jehovah's Witness or this persona that you're supposed to be when you're a Jehovah's Witness. And that's what you were up against.
Yes.
So at this point, you're still not understanding what's going on yet, right?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on because I was being love bombed. So, and she was saying one thing to me in one sense, but in the other sense, it was like, but make these changes because this is what Jehovah asks for. If you want to really know Jehovah, you really want to know. And I'm like, but I know Jehovah. I know God. I mean, I've been going to church all my life. Why did she say it like that? It was the loaded language. Like, you want to get to know Jehovah, or, you know, you want to do what's pleasing in Jehovah's eyes, or, you know, you want to be spiritual. And I'm like, but I am spiritual. It's like, it kept making me question who I really was. You know, when the time we were getting to know each other and dating or even going out, she was asking me questions about things about me, you know, how long you've been going to church and how long you've been playing drums and how long you've been in things like that. And so she even came to a few of my rehearsals. She would sit right there in the balcony area where the choir stand is, where I was practicing with the band, but she would never come to church. And I was wondering, like, why she would never come to church? Never would. And we were dating, maybe after 8 months of knowing each other, she would not come to church, not one time. And I never really just questioned her question. I just felt like she just was busy on Sundays with her Kingdom Hall meetings that she just couldn't come. But I thought eventually she would. She wasn't coming. Yeah. So I did understand out. So during that time started really getting serious and everything, this would happen a lot. I would be at her house and she would cook food and we would be over just like, you know, watching movies. Her daughter would be there. She's about 10 at the time. And we would be hanging out, spending time, whatever, doing things. And then her mother would call and be like, hey, I'm in town. I'm about to come by and come and get this. I'm coming from Sam's to bring this. So she would be like, well, all right, Steve, you're going to have to leave. My mom's coming here, X, Y, and Z. I'll talk to you in a few. So it's every time somebody was going to come over, her dad, her mother, anybody like that, I would have to leave. And I was like, why do I have to leave all the time? Why? If we're getting serious, we've been dating for 3-4 months, like, what's going on? It just threw me. And I would have to leave, and I would go to my apartment, which was like maybe 5-10 minutes away or whatever, in the same kind of like area. I would go home, and then she would call me back later, like, what you doing after they're gone? Or are they going to come stay the night? I wouldn't hear from her for like a day or so. Yeah.
Oh my God! So her parents didn't live in town?
No, they live
out of town.
They live about maybe 2.5 hours away, the city outside of the city we lived in. Yeah.
Oh, so she was really double life in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh, yes.
Because her family wasn't around. Okay.
Yes.
What did her daughter think about all this?
Her daughter being young like that, of course, she didn't really understand. I mean, at that age, a child is trying to like find themselves, and they're following. She wants to be like her mother. She's just looking up to her mother, wants to do what her mother does. I also had conversations with her daughter about like school and like education and just different things. Like her daughter had questions about like, why do you do this? And why do you do that? Or why do you listen to that type of music? Or why do you do this? And I'm like, well, this is what I like to listen to. And she was like, well, Jehovah doesn't like that. And so I would tell her to go to Google. She would ask something about like anything, like, and I'd be like, why don't you go to Google and look it up and see what it says? And this was like later on after we got married, because that would be like, I was trying to get her to critically think and independently think as a child, to go look up stuff instead of her mother telling her, don't do this, say this, don't whatever, for her to learn for herself. So.
Now, Steve, let's go back. Let's travel back to this 10-year-old. She did know. They know what's going on.
Okay.
Now, because, you know, it makes me think about her mother was probably a weak witness, because her daughter at 10 years old, when she was bringing you to the house, she knew you weren't supposed to be there.
Oh.
She knew her mother wasn't supposed to have you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know that at an early age. At 5 years old, she would have known, Mommy, who's this strange man? You know, she may not have said it in front of you. Mm-hmm. She may have been asking her mother who you were. Wow. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then where was her father? So
her father, or the child's father, or
the child's father.
The child's father was incarcerated for a long time, and he was sentenced to prison for a lot of years of them being married. So, and he was a worldly man as well. And so it seems like a trend that this young lady that I have now fall in love with loves to go and recruit the type of man that she likes and bring them into the truth, or bring them into what she thinks, God is, or, a righteous, bad, virtuous life is. And that's what she was doing instead of going to her congregation. Because when I even visited the congregation, the guys I seen there, it was like, they look weird. It was like, they would be like really dorky and goofy. And some of the guys were younger. Some of the guys even like, they didn't even talk. They just raised their hand, they commented, and they just like sat there the whole time. Even afterwards, they were just like, people were just very, very different. And I know my wife was not one, she's very attracted to what she's not supposed to have, I would say. So I think that was the X factor that she wants with her choosing her ex-husband and myself.
So you see what the women and the sisters at the Kingdom Hall are up against. When you put people in this religion and you say, these are the people that join the religion. These are the people that are born in the religion. These are the people that accept the teachings. And then the women are looking around like, but these people are nothing that I want to be with.
Right.
And so then here you come along, and now it's like, okay, I wouldn't mind, being with this person. Right. Because she was probably interested in you all the while too.
I'll tell you something. I always got Lady C from her. She always said, "You're not my type. I wouldn't dare ever talk to you. You're not even my type. I wouldn't even talk to a guy like you." It was like always this like demeaning word game thing she would do. Even when we got married, like, you were my type. I wasn't even looking for nobody. You just showed up and you just disappeared. It's just like these very condescending words she would use to kind of like downplay me. And I think that was to always keep me at a humble humility state with her, to feel like I need her more than she needs me. I know. And so this is when I started really doing a lot of research, not on just the religion, but just what she was putting me through. It was like, in one sense, I love you. In the next sense, and then after we started dating, one sense I love you, but one sense, you're not even my type. I wouldn't even talk to you. I can do bad all by myself. I don't need you. And it's like, it was a lot of behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. And when she started doing those things, that was her gaining power over our relationship, to the point where it was like, why don't you just leave and go? Like, we would have issues. It was like, she would push me to go talk to other people. Why don't you just go get with somebody else? Why don't you just go do this here and do this here? But she know that I love her, and I was trying my best to stay with her. It's like insecurity. She didn't know that I would value her enough to want to be with her. It was like she was always trying to push me away, and I couldn't understand why. Now I understand why, but I couldn't understand why.
So you were having more than just one issue. You're dealing with a person that has issues, like personality issues.
Yeah.
Bringing this into a relationship, and a person that belongs to a cult.
Yeah.
High control group.
Yeah. And
so
so that
double trouble.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I mean, I've caught her at sometimes like saying one thing to her mom and then got the phone and then lie and say something totally different. Like, I'd be like, you just lied to your mother. Oh, that's okay. She knows. She's just being picky. She's just being nosy. She's just trying to find out what I'm doing and all that. It's like her mother knew. Her mother was trying to keep, I think her mother is the glue to this whole thing with the kids. So they're always trying to keep the kids close. If the kids don't come to meetings or don't respond a certain way, or they have to call in and check, you make sure you're not doing this here. Is Nyla going over there? Because see, the daughter has not in-laws, but her grandmother and grandfather can still go to church, which is her ex-husband, his child. So they still go to church. So on weekends, she would drop her daughter off on a Thursday, on a Friday after school, stay Friday and Saturday. But as soon as Sunday morning hit, we're going to be up in the morning, like at 5 in the morning, trying to rush down to the country, which is about maybe 30 minutes away, to go pick up her daughter to make sure she doesn't go to church with her in-laws. Or not in-laws, but the other side of the family. Yeah.
With her father's family, right?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. So that started to show me then, like, something is not right with it. It's like, she can stay all this time, but if it's time to celebrate a holiday or to go to a place of worship that is not a Jehovah's Witness or Kingdom Hall, we're going to be breaking our neck on that night, Saturday night or Sunday morning early before the meeting to go pick her up.
Oh my goodness. So what ended up happening? So you guys, did you guys have a wedding at a facility, or how did your wedding plans go?
I actually have that down. You see that? It says wedding. So this is what happened. After we really got serious, got to the point where we know we want to be with each other, she gave me an ultimatum. She said, hey, I know you really want to be in this, relationship with me, and I don't date with the intent of just dating. I date with the intent of marriage, but that's what they've been promised to do. In dating, we normally would go out. You can go hang out with someone and go out to dinner, but then, you have conversations and realize, I don't like this. I don't like their character, or I don't like this about them. So I can see them as a friend, but not anything more. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses, when they date, it's like the date intent of marriage. So how likely would you date one person and date them for 4 or 5 months and realize, they're not for me. Now I want to go date somebody else. Now you're starting to look like somebody spiritually weak, or like you're kind of hot under the collar in your congregation, because you're going from man to man, woman to woman, or whatever, because you can't be satisfied with what it is that, that you're meeting. So I realized, she told me that, and I was like, I've never been told that. I'm only dating with the intent of marriage, and that's it. So that means if me and her get serious, we have to get married, because there's no dating, and then if it doesn't work, test drive the car for 6 months or a year. You can't even pay your bills on time. I don't even know what type of attitude you have when you get frustrated. I don't know what pushes your limits and buttons, all those things. Didn't get a chance to experience none of that. So it just forces the situation. So to answer the question, the wedding, getting to that point, she gave me an ultimatum. I'm not going to marry you unless, I don't want a man in church. So I'm not going to marry you unless you leave the church alone and we do things together. We actually go to conventions, assemblies, and everything together. Like, she's already been in a situation where her ex-husband didn't even come to meetings. He was locked up, incarcerated, so she didn't get a chance to experience that. So she wanted that. That was her goal, what she wanted her next marriage. So I was trying to be that good man and give that to her, but didn't know what I was giving and give myself into. So that was my income. I left my church alone, which, as a musician, you play on weekends. You might have a Wednesday night service or some type of rehearsal to go over the music for the week. I stopped doing all of that. That was part of my part-time play. I do full-time work, but that was my part-time work. So letting that income go, all I have now is just full-time, just a full-time, 8 to 5 job. So I left it alone, and in October, she said, well, you've been saying you're going to leave this for the longest. When are you going to finally leave it? Because I'm not going to marry you unless you do it. So I left it alone around, September. That's when I proposed. And it's crazy. Like, I asked to have, counseling. And she kept telling me, well, I don't do counseling. Like, I don't need counseling. Like, we have elders that would give us, a shepherding call that would, help us kind of, in the right direction of what we want to do. But I don't want to get counseling. And now I know why. Because my counseling would have been, scripturally, would have been like a preacher or minister at a church somewhere counseling somebody that's saying, hey, you're part of Armageddon. You're going to be Babylon the Great and Christendom. You will get a short way. I'm not going to listen to you, hear you. You can't do anything for me. So, yeah. But yeah, so the counseling part, we did that with some elders for a little bit. And then we ended up getting married November. We did a justice of peace ceremony with her mother and her father. And then from there, we went and did an actual ceremony with my family. She did not want to jump a broom. She did not want to be in a church. We had to do it at a event hall or whatever, or an event center. We did it there. We had a DJ and we did music. We had a great time. It was amazing. But there were a lot of things that just didn't coincide. My family and her family had conversations, but her family did not mingle with my family much at all.
When you guys were dating, what did your family think about your choice of a person?
My family are very open-minded. They just want to see their kids happy. My mother and father have been married for 40 plus years. So I do believe in one-time marriage. I've seen my father treat my mother with respect and dignity and giving her loyalty and giving her love and things of that nature. And I see my mom give respect to my father. So men need respect. Women need love. I've seen that at a young age. But coming up, after me and her got together and everything, started dating, my mom and folks said, as long as she has a good moral background, she has values, she believes in God. She not necessarily might not have the same doctrinal beliefs as myself or denomination, but she's still a believer in the faith of God, whatever, right? So that's what we thought. And I thought, well, it's God, we still can compromise and meet in the middle. But that wasn't it. I had to come all the way and convert all the way to make her life work and things work. My family didn't have any objections of me marrying her. They just want to make sure that I was happy. I knew what I was doing, that I took my time and made sure I loved her for who she was and not, the wrong reasons that most people get married for. So. Yeah. So they were okay with it.
So after you got married, when did things start to go downhill?
There were little things that were going on, like, because it's hard for me being a musician not to be able to listen to certain music. So I would listen in my head, like put earphones on and be like washing dishes or cooking or doing something around the house. And she would say to me later, like, I heard you listening to, the gospel music, or listen to music you listen to. And I said, well, all I was doing was listening to music because my friends had some recordings and I wanted to check out what they had played on the music to kind of like, see what they did. And she would say, well, you don't have to like try to duck and hide to listen to stuff like that or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm not trying to duck and hide. I just want to listen to, she said, well, I've already told you, like, if you know better, you do better. You listen to this gospel music, but you can't straddle the fence. You can't be like coming to Kingdom Hall, to come to assemblies and conventions and then know what Jehovah's telling you through his word or whatever. But then over here, through his Bible principles, and over here, you do something completely different. That's a contradiction. You can't do that. You're going to either serve God or you're going to serve the world. So she started telling me things like that. And I'm like, what you mean I can't even just listen to gospel music? Like, that don't even make sense. But what she was doing was trying to plant that seed of propaganda and deeply entrenched things that she had in her to see how I would view it when she tell it to me. And because Jehovah's, sometimes they prey on people that are not as confident about who they are. And I was always bending and making myself moldable and coachable and for her. But she wasn't doing that for me. She never had to change for me. Not one time. So those are some of the signs in the beginning that made me start to be like, why do I have to change? I had to stop listening to what I'm listening to. I have to cut my facial hair. I have to stop wearing earrings. I have to stop association with people that are living a certain lifestyle, but you got friends over here you can talk to and converse with still. It didn't make sense. And it's like I had to make all the changes. That's when I started doing research about what type of emotional control or what I was under. And that's when I actually started doing a lot of research on just different things. I started going into Jehovah's Witness history and origin. Some of the things she was telling me about, like, my family could be destroyed one day. And I'm like, my mom's a good person, though. Like, my mom's a Christian. Like, how is she going to get destroyed and she know God? And then we would go, like, ride in the car, like me and her daughter, and we go out of town or we going to the mall or going certain places and just enjoying a Saturday or enjoying a weekend. And they'll be listening to music, boom, boom, doom, doom. I'm talking about shaking their chests and pop locking. I'm like, okay, all right, y'all can dance, right? Y'all get it. And I'm like, I love music. So I'm getting with it too, I'm having fun. But then, to the window, to the wall, to the sweat run dry, like listen to all this music that I was considered to be, to me, worldly. To me in the church, when I was coming up, that was considered worldly music. My mama told me. So I'm like, she's listening to worldly music. But then I asked, okay, hey, y'all been listening to that for the last hour and a half. We almost there. I want to listen to some Fred Hammond or some Donnie McClurkin or Kurt Franklin or, any inspirational music. It can just be some instrumental gospel music. Every time I wanted to put that on, I was always frowned upon. Like, why are you finna play that? No, we're not gonna play that in my car. Like, you can play it in your own truck, but you're not gonna play that in my car. I'm like, we're riding together as a family and we're married, but I'm not gonna play this in your car. But when I'm riding with you, I have to sit here and listen to y'all do all this booty shaking and all this. You and your daughter, I'm talking about y'all getting it. And I'm like, these are worldly moves and worldly things you're doing, but what I'm doing is considered worldly. I wanted to listen to some, so when I did listen to some gospel music, eventually I had to put my earphones on with my phone and listen to it. But if I touched her car and did it, it's like, they don't have earphones to put on. They didn't even want that stuff to even get in their ear gates. Hear anything about Christendom, anything about the church, anything about worship music, they don't even want nothing to do with it at all. But that was the big contradiction. It threw me like, this is worldly that you're doing, but you're saying what I'm doing is worldly. It makes sense.
Doesn't make sense at all, does it?
It makes sense. No.
And see, these are the kind of things that people need to hear, these kind of stories like this, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, there's a lot of people that can relate to what you're saying. Not only that, but there's a lot of people that probably had a whole lot of other things that they can add to what you're saying.
Yes.
What was it like studying for you?
This, Lady C, was the most confusing thing I've ever did in my life. And the reason why is because, think about, I'm 40. I just turned 40 this year, in January. I turned 40, and for 35 years of my life, I've been doing something the same way. they normally say it takes, 18 days to start a new habit and like 36 or 30, something like that, to break it. If you've been doing something all your life the same way, that's become who you are. That's deeply entrenched in who you are. So it was like me trying to study with them wasn't just studying. First of all, I thought a Bible study was a Bible study. Like, this is the Greek interlinear of the kingdom. Yeah, I have this. I had to order it, but I have this, whatever. And I'm just using an example. If this is the Bible, and they say we're going to do a Bible study, I'm used to Bible study being a Bible study. Oh, okay. What are we going to study today? We're going to study Matthew. We're going to study Jesus. We're going to study John. We're going to study the Holy Spirit. What are we going to study? We're going to just study some books or study love or peace or find a topic and talk about? That wasn't it. It was like, no, we're going to study this. And we're going to study the Bible with this. And I'm like, well, not this book, but, the New World Translation. I'm like, oh, but I thought it was a Bible study. Because where I come from, a Bible study is just, me and you can have a Bible study right now. We can find a topic we want to talk about. We can talk about despair or uncertainty in this time of not having peace. And we can study, what God gives peace and share scriptures and share some ideas, pray about it, and be done, right? That's not a Bible study. No, it was an indoctrination. We had to sit down. We had to go through what you already know. Like, so I think the first thing I looked at in the Bible study was, it said here, what is the truth about God? And I was like, first of all, now that I've been watching you guys' channel so much now, and I critically analyze everything, when you read that and say, what is the truth about God? That already gives you a benefit. It helps you to understand that there's some falseness about God. See, it's not what is the truth about God. They should have just been saying right there, hey, who are you? What do you think God is? Who do you think God is? What is the truth about God? So the whole beginning of this whole book, what is the truth about God? Meaning that what I've already known about, I think I know about God, push that to the side, because it's going to be a totally different whirlwind for to hit you now. Which what you think you don't know. Without the Watchtower study, and to go over that and pretty much read the questions, answer it according to what the thing is already telling you it is. So how are you really thinking for yourself? If I just read, Jesus is Lord, God is, I'm sorry, this is an example. God's name is Jehovah, and he loves everybody. Okay, question. What is God's name, and who does he love? Stephen? God's name is Jehovah, and he loves me as well. And you. He loves everybody. Ooh, good answer. Woo! Hey, Hercules. Okay, next question. What am I really learning? I'm learning what you're telling me to learn. I'm only taking in what you want me to take in, and I'm not critically thinking and say, oh, I'm sorry, Stephen, brother Stephen, if I'm baptized. Stephen, if I'm not baptized. Hey, you got another question? Yeah. So you said God's name is Jehovah. So where did the word Jehovah come from? Well, we would have to acknowledge that later. Elder, somebody would kind of talk to you later after the meeting if you have any questions. But we have to continue on with the Watchtower conduction. Okay. Conductor. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry. We have to continue on. You can't raise your hand and ask a question about anything like that because they don't want you to have to really want to think for yourself. And that's what I realized. Like some ain't right. This ain't right. So, but anyway, I got through it because see, a lot of what I was doing was I wanted to please my mate. And when you're in love, for this whole session right now, anybody that's out there, understand if you're in love and you really care about somebody, you're willing to do anything to love them. So I started loving through my training, through my actually having Bible study. That was my showing love to my wife. And because I loved her so much, I was willing to make our marriage work by studying and trying to understand what it is she knew about her religion or how, what it is she understands about God. And that's why I did it. But when I started seeing the small things, I didn't even challenge it. I wanted to ask why, and then I asked why, they would answer. But if you ask another why on top of that why, that's where you have an issue. Because it's like, she would be like, why are you always asking why? Why you can't just believe this God's word and just believe that it's the truth and it's his principles and all this? And I was like, okay, baby, all right. And so it kind of started downplaying why I would ask why. And so studying was okay, but it started being confusing for me because, Jesus is the Archangel Michael and the 144,000 and learning things about, hell and certain doctrinal things. I just couldn't understand why everything that they say in the Bible is completely opposite for Jehovah's Witness. You know, if Jesus died on a cross, well, he died on a stake. It was one piece of wood. If Jesus is, you know, the Son of God, well, he's Michael the Archangel. If it's called a church, well, it's called a kingdom hall. Where we were, you know, like everything was different. If they eat the bread and wine, well, we just pass and observe here. We just gonna pass it. I mean, there's so many different things. I was like, this is weird. Like, all my life I've been told to do this. Now all of a sudden, you know, you believe in Bible principles, but you guys don't take blood. Like, but does the Bible say we don't supposed to take blood? I don't eat blood. Okay, anyway. Yeah, that's some of the things that really kind of made me question. But I just kept studying. I got all the way like halfway in the book. And that's when I was going to assemblies, conventions, people seeing people get, baptized. I actually had made a goal to be baptized in the next like 6 months. I was studying for about maybe 8 months. And I was like, in the 6 months, I want to be baptized. Because I was on my way.
What actually woke you up?
So the thing that kind of woke me up was I was getting gaslighted a lot. Like, so it's somewhere in the Bible where it talks about a tree beareth the fruit. And anytime it bears fruit, it shows you what type of tree it is. It can't be a pear tree and then it's bearing fruit of an apple or bearing fruit of a, you know, like a banana. It just doesn't make sense. It's not something wrong there about the seeds of that tree. So I started doing a lot of research, like wondering why my wife would say one thing, but she would say something totally different to me behind closed doors. She told me, if you don't leave the church, I'm not going to marry you. Verbatim, I remember her telling me that because my friends even know, Steve, what otherwise reason why you would leave the church? You wouldn't just leave the church like that unless you was just all the way heads over heels in love with her. And I was in love. And so after a while, when we had some issues and she had a conversation with one of my best friends, she told him, I never told him he had to leave the church. I told him that I would prefer not to have somebody in the church, but I didn't tell him he had to leave the church to marry me. In that case, when I left, you would have told me, no, I didn't tell you have to leave, honey. That's your income. Go back and make your money. You know, we got to pay these bills, right? She didn't take that back. So that's why I know what she told me. So gaslighting became excessive. Power and control. Every time we had a altercation or indifference, it wasn't about agreeing. Because in relationships, you can agree to disagree. You can have like, this is what you believe, this is what I feel. But it was always to gain an edge, always to be, you know, win the argument. I hate this. Most men, I'm telling you, any woman out there, I'm gonna tell you something. Don't hang up in your man's face. Don't just hang up in the face just because you don't. Hang up in his face because he done something disrespectful or the punishment fits the crime. Like, we'll be on the phone and we're talking about something simple in the morning, and who took the garbage out can turn into why I want to go to Kingdom Hall on Thursday, why you're going to get destroyed here, and into something crazy. And now all of a sudden she hangs up in my face, and I can't stand it. Because you hang up in my face, I feel like this is blatantly being disrespectful, especially if I'm not arguing with you, I'm not fighting with you. She just wants to get the last word. So I started noticing this trend of power and control. She has to have the last word. She can tell me the truth about everything, but I can't tell her nothing. Even if I go Google, I go research something, not about Jehovah's Witnesses, but just in general, like about her car, about the wheels, about anything. If I tell her that and she don't want to hear it, if she don't want to hear it, she'll be like, I don't want to hear what you got to say. I don't care what you got to say. And she'll fast talk me and to the point where she'll just hang up or get out of my presence. And that bothered me a lot because men need respect. And I started feeling like I wasn't respected for a while. Next thing was her perception of reality was distorted for me. What she imagined in her mind to be reality of what the world is a very, very tannic view. It's not really what it is. But that's because that's the bubble that she lives in. She sees the world this way, this angle, this tone of view, and not from a wider view. I see it from a wider view. So me going to college, I have a degree, and I'm going to get my master's now. I'm working to better myself to get an education to be able to have a better standard in life and be able to make more, more income and provide for my family. Well, what I've understood that, Jehovah's Witnesses are very discouraged. It might not be told, no, don't go to further education, but they're discouraged to do so. And what that does is that takes away from your future and ability to be able to think for yourself and say, hey, I got this bill right here. I need to be able to provide for my kids and do this. Well, I'm just going to work this one job and then get me a mate that can take care of the rest for me. especially for a woman. You know, a woman needs stability. And that was her notion with me. So when I did leave my church alone, not having an income, even though it was like, oh, you left the church alone for me. Yay, you know, we're going to get married now and all that. Now at night when we're stressing, like, how am I going to pay this bill? You know, this car note is due, or a light bill, you know, I'm paying these bills here, and I'm trying to be the man here and trying to, you know, be your new husband and trying to provide everything for you. But it was the worst year and a half in the beginning of my life ever. And the reason why is because I know me. I know I went to school to be able to provide. I came from a family of providers and came from a family of, if men don't work, they don't eat. You have to work. You have to, you know, get a college education and better yourself. Well, she wasn't promoted to do that. She wasn't, it wasn't instilling her to do that. It was instilling her to get somebody that already has her, or get somebody to do it for you. So you can sit back and just be pretty, look good, take care of the kids, and then go into field service and just be in this bubble of brainwashing that you want to stay in. Yeah. The other thing was my daughter going to church, playing music in our home and drive. Okay. So what that was my daughter was 6 months, and we were in our first house that we got together. And I said, hey, I want to take my daughter to church sometimes with me. This is after I had already decided that I'm not going to continue going to Kingdom Hall or whatever. I would come visit sometimes, but I wasn't like trying to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. Stop studying. She stopped being my wife. She stopped a lot of things. She stopped like the respect factor. She stopped calling me her headship. She used to call me her headship. You, baby, you my headship, baby. You my covering, baby. You my, you know, it's just validating me, affirming me, like, baby, feel good that what I was doing, you know, was a good thing. Which women don't forget. Always validate your man. Always affirm him, because everybody has different languages. And so one of my love languages is words of affirmation, and I would like physical touch. Words of affirmation and like a quality time. I like to be around you, be able to express, you know, myself to you. So those are mine. And so always validate, but she was good at that. She validated me, made me feel like what I was doing. You're doing a great job in your study. Yay. It was like love bombing. Yay. It was just so good. But when I decided not to do that, all that stopped. All my cheerleader that I thought I had, it stopped. It was only cheering me on to become a Jehovah's Witness. So I asked to take my daughter to church with me, because I was still playing drum. I went back to playing drums at another church to provide. And she told me, if you so much as try to take my daughter to church with you, it's going to be a big misunderstanding. And I said, really? And that's when we started having really like this tug of war. Because why would you tell your mate that? Why would you tell your mate that they can't even like take their own child, flesh and blood that you're married to with them sometime where they might go? That's because she wanted to have it was a dictatorship and not it wasn't a democracy. It wasn't a, hey, your view, individual view, and we come together. It was a dictatorship in our household. And when I realized that, I could no longer be there. It got really hard. We had arguments almost every other day. But, you know, really, really get in depth, whatever. We had a lot of domestic issues. No abusive, no laying my hands on her, anything like that. But I have some pictures and things that happened to me that I took pictures just to, you know, have as document. But it got really bad. It got really bad because I was trying to pull one way and she was pulling the other way. And it was a tug of war, just like that. But I don't blame her. She doesn't know any better. When you don't know any better, if you're a witness and you're really devoured by that and your family's in that, you're going to pull at what you think is correct and the right way to live. And somebody that's pulling against that, like you told me, she can't come to church with me. I didn't know that. If she would have been honest and say, you know what, I just can't come to church with you because not only do I not believe that, but I would lose my status in my congregation, or my family would look at me as spiritual weak, or I would get reproved, or I could get disfellowship. I could lose everything. Like Jehovah's Witnesses never speak like that. How often do they speak like that and be like, hey, you know what? Let me be honest with you. This is what's going on. I love you, baby, and all this, and I don't mind you come to Kingdom Hall sometimes, but I'm not going to go to church. And the reason why is because, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to celebrate this holiday. I'm not going to do that because my relationship with Jehovah means this, but at the same time, this is what I've been taught all my life. And if I was to do anything contradicting to that, I could get reproof. I can be in trouble. And I really don't want to cause a relationship between me and my family to be. If they really would use that terminology, we could be able to understand where they are and help them. But they try to deny it. Like, that's not what it is. It's just Jehovah. Like, when my relationship with Jehovah means everything, and I'm not going to such this because the organization equates to Jehovah. If you leave the organization, you leave Jehovah. But you haven't. See, I've done enough research now to know so many things about the organization now. I can go really, really deep in some past history things, false prophecies. But then when I started to try to inform my wife of things I had realized and started learning, she started like really, really being ugly toward me. Like started changing, like arguments after arguments. I don't want to hear that mess and boom, 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 this apostate and this and this. And so we constantly started having those battles and issues.
So what kind of a message would you tell someone if you found out they were dating a Jehovah's Witness and they asked you, what would you do? What kind of message would you tell someone?
I would tell someone that's first dating, if you're dating a Jehovah's Witness right now, female or male, I would ask you first, ask questions, as many questions as possible. Because the more you ask questions and you be definite and decisive about who you are, what you're going to do, be true to who you are. Don't say, yeah, like me. I celebrate holidays, but not really like that. Like sometimes there's been times where I've missed a birthday. Like birthdays have happened and I forgot it was my birthday. And the next day, it was just another day for me. See, that plays into the propaganda of the mind. Like, oh, so you really don't celebrate holidays? Okay. But next year, I'm going to make sure you don't remember your holiday because you already said you don't normally celebrate. So we can just go out of town and do something the day before or the day after, but not the day on. You see what I'm saying? So the psyche becomes, oh, you don't normally celebrate Christmas, or you don't celebrate Halloween, or you don't do this, you don't do that. So I would say stay true to who you are. If you do this, if you're family oriented, if you like to travel, if you like to, Thanksgiving is a big time for you and your family, stick to that. Don't let a person change that or change your perception of that because you just want to be able to please them. That's the first thing. Second thing I would say is do your research on not just Jehovah's Witnesses, but do your research on narcissists. Do your research on people that are gaslighters. Do your research on people that are condescending. People that say one thing that are contradictors and do a different thing. See, I wasn't just dating someone that just because she was Jehovah's Witness and I had these issues. She's already, per se, in some areas, she's already had some character flaws. She's already had some issues where she can be very manipulative and controlling. You want to stay away from people that are controlling, manipulative, that want to always get their way, self-absorbed. She told me herself, I'm self-righteous. And what you going to do about it? If somebody tell you they're self-righteous, that means they're not willing to adjust and change anything because they're always going to be right. I don't care if you showed them, you took a video. I started recording a lot of footage of things that was said to me. And she said to me and say, look, you said this. Remember on this date, you said this. It's almost like, so? Like, I'm still right. It don't matter if I told you or not. So what you got that recording? My point is that start looking for these traits in people early on. Before you know that they're Jehovah's Witness, look for these first. Because if they have these red flags and they're Jehovah's Witness, you got a battle on your hand. Because you're not dealing with someone that's, first of all, willing to change and listen to somebody that's worldly. Because in my mind, I'm already better than you because I'm not worldly. Secondly, I'm gonna be saved because I'm baptized and you're gonna be destroyed. So I already know what's right. There's nothing you can tell me. There's nothing you can do for me, biblical or non-biblical. You can't lead me. I'm going to lead you to the truth. So those are some of the things that I noticed, that being able to stick to your guns, know who you are. If you like this type of food, stay to that type of food. If you like your hair, facial hair, have a reason why you like your facial hair. If you like your earrings, don't let anybody downplay who you are. And if they can't know you for those things and be with you because of those things, they're not for you. That's the first thing. Now, somebody that's married to a Jehovah's Witness. Oh, my bad. One more thing on the dating. If they have to be going out of the town and out of the city to spend time with you, obviously, they don't want to be seen with you for a reason. Now, you want to be asking why. Why can't we go to the bowling alley down the street? It's a public place. There are a lot of people there, people having a good time. Why can't we go on a date there? Because they're going to tell you, you don't want them to be cowards in their religion. Some Jehovah's are very cowardly. They will tell you everything about what they believe, but you try to put them aside. Let me tell you something, what I realize about you guys. They're going to run and take their carts and they're gone. They don't want to hear it because you can't tell me nothing. But my point I'm making is, if you go out on a date with someone like that and they don't want to be around you and other people, ask them why. Why can't we be seen in front of other people? Why can't we be out in the public? And if they don't say anything like, well, it's because in my beliefs, you're part of the world. You're going to be destroyed one day. And I'm really trying to be with someone that I feel like I can grow and teach the truth to, that I'm attracted to, and eventually save their life. And I feel like I'm doing you justice. I'm saving your life. I'm going to be with you. And I'm going to help you be a better person because I'm a Jehovah's Witness. And not only that, you dating me is going to give you an opportunity to have eternal life one day in a paradise. And we might be together, but we can be married. If they don't even tell the real truth as to why and say, well, I can't be with you out like that because I have to be chaperoned, then the whole thing is going to be a lie. Your whole relationship is going to be a lie. That's what's going to happen because they can't be truthful up front and tell you why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. Marriage-wise, I would say that's a lifetime commitment. We get married and we say, to death do us part, for sickness and health, for rich and poor, all of those things, right, that we kind of stick by. But you have to compare both of those things. To death do us part. Death is what's going to separate us. But that's not the beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses. Death is separating us if we're not baptized witnesses. Because if we're baptized witnesses, we're going to be raised together and you're going to be my wife in the new system. But if I already believe that you're worldly and you're unbelieving and I'm a Jehovah's Witness, that's not death do us part. Because deep down inside, I know that when you die and I die, two different things are going to happen. I'm going to be resurrected by Jehovah because I know Jehovah. I don't know what's going to happen to you. You're just going to be destroyed. And that's it. So is it really death do us part? All right. Next thing, sickness and in health. All right. That's kind of a tricky one. Sickness and in health. We're sick. If we're sick together, if we're in health together, we're going to be together. We're going to grind it out. But what happens when you need a blood transfusion? And I believe that, baby, I'm going to save your life, baby. This sickness will help. I love you. I love you, baby. I can't let you down like that. No, such. Right? Sickness and health means this doctor, I want to save my wife's life. And my wife's saying, no, I got this card, baby. I want to make some new system because I don't want to have a blood transfusion. What do you do? What do you do as a mate or wife or husband or child? What do you do at this situation? So are you really getting married to sickness and health? To an unbeliever and a Jehovah's Witness? And then death do us part. What would death do us part? What was the next one? Richer and poor. Oh, Lord. So to richer and poor, what does that really mean? If I already have prominence and sustainability and stability before I meet you, I think we work out fine. Because that plays right into the propaganda that I can take care of you, wife of mine. You can take care of the kids at home. Y'all can go into field service. You can homeschool them so they're not in a public school, private school. They don't have to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute the flag. You don't have to do all those things that are the government or world system. So now they get opportunity to teach my daughter or my child what I want to teach them while my husband is bringing that bread home because he's sustained already. He already has, the financial means to take care of us. But the poor part is the tough part. If you don't have that already and you're trying to make ends meet and you're going to school to try to better yourself. I'm talking about an unbeliever, unbelieving mate or man or woman. You're trying to better yourself. You're trying to have education. You're trying to go into music, into arts, into theater, and the things, you're promising things that you have skills to do. And that other mate is not, as a Jehovah's Witness, they're going to always be picking at that thing. Because in their mind, why are you striving for today? Keep seeking. See, the New English Translation says, keep seeking the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things should be added. Seek ye the kingdom. Keep seeking. So that means we got to keep doing something. We got to keep working. I got to stay in a field service. I got to keep doing these things. And so somebody that's going out there to take their child to boxing classes, karate classes, wanting their kids to be involved in this, and you want to be married to somebody one day and have kids with them, you need to ask these questions. What happens when I want my child to be, I want to have these particular, not a richer life, but be able to have a more prosperous life, a wealthy life. And you want to just do this. How are we going to help each other do that? It doesn't work that way because I'm pulling this direction and you're pulling to just be a great field service, ministerial servant, pioneer, X, Y, and Z. It's two different things. So you have to be on one accord. That's why, I'm not trying to get too biblical, but the Bible does say, how can two walk together unless they agree? And Amos, you have to walk together. You have to agree. Ladies, see, you and JT, y'all agree. I'm sure y'all have some times y'all don't agree, but in the relationships, y'all, but 9 times out of 10, y'all are seeing the same direction about some things. If not, y'all would have been bump heads. There was an analogy that my dad said a long time ago already. He said, windshield wipers. Windshield wipers are doing this, right? What happens? This is the wife. This is the husband. They go in this direction. She's following him. He's following her. They're side by side. But what happens when windshield wipers get off? Now they're crashing. They're crashing into each other. And what happens is everything in life happens when we turn the same direction. Somebody die, we're together. Somebody gets sick, we're together. Somebody lose a job, we're together. Those things will keep you on the same page. But if you're already starting this way on two different pages, you're going to bump heads anyway. And that's what happens with the rich and poor. You know, I want to be sustaining. I want to be able to, you know, use my career and use my talents and gifts. You telling me, why are you doing all that? You just striving for this here. We need to go to work and come back home so we can get ready for the meeting the next day. Go to work, come back home so we can study for the Watchtower. Go to work, come back home and get ready to do this field survey, go to assembly and pack our bags for a weekend of this. Like, that's not my life. So if that's not your life, people, I mean, in camera, that's not your life. Don't allow yourself to mingle and blend in when oil and water don't mix. Because what you're trying to do is make something mix that's not going to happen. I know you might love her and you might love him, but being married to someone, rich and poor, death do us part, and sickness and health, it has to be on the same page, within the same guidelines. So,
Do you feel like you were living on the set of a Lifetime movie?
Yes, this is a book. I'm telling you, I feel like somebody gave me a script, and not only did I try to live the script, it's like I had to throw away my whole life, almost like Will Smith had to do in Ali. I mean, you know, Muhammad Ali. He had to become him. Like, he had to study him. He had to get his body chiseled. He had to learn his ways, his whole demeanor. Or I feel like I became a Jehovah's Witness. I put myself in the shoes and in the everything of a Jehovah's Witness, like a disguise of a Jehovah's Witness, acting it out. And not only that, it changed me. Like, it was like, I don't see things the same sometimes. Like, when people say things that's in the world, I'll be like, why do they do that? But like, oh, you're not Jehovah's Witness. They do that because this. Oh, and I look at Jehovah's Witnesses, why do they do this? Oh, I know why they do this, because Watchtower 1963 said this. I researched so much stuff. All their books. I did this one here is one that really helped me a lot. The Kingdom Interlinear Translation of the Greek Scriptures. In here had places where things have been added in, words have been added in to change the meaning of the whole actual text. But this is the actual New Testament. And so with the New Testament, all these things have been added in. If you compare it to their New World Translation, they put it in there and then made it seem like it was an indefinite article added. Then they eventually kept it in there on the green. They got a green version, a black version, but they kept it in there as if it's there and it's a part of what they're saying. And it's like, and Jehovah's Witnesses don't know that. And I try to show my wife this. I try to show her, you know what she told me? I said, look, it says the New World Bible Translation Committee. It says, I tried to say, she said, that's not from Watchtower. I said, it says Watchtower right there. She said, that ain't from Watchtower. That's apostate stuff. Jehovah don't even have this material out there. Like, you can't even find it like that. I'm like, you know what? You're so dumb. You don't know nothing. In my head, I just like.
So you're standing there with a Watchtower publication,
yes.
And you're telling you it's apostate?
Yes. Listen.
She doesn't even know her own religion.
It's crazy. You don't know your own religion. Millions not living will never die. That's not from us. I try to show her the preface on here where it says Watchtower and Tract Society. This was one that, of course, when Rutherford was talking about Beth Serene in Oakland, California, and then all the princes would be resurrected and everything to, you know, exist in form or whatever. But if you try to tell him this, he never did that. Rutherford never did. That wasn't even prophesied in 1925. That's all here. It's all here. So all those two things, and then I got Divine Plan right here too as well. This is the one with the pyramid where, you know, Russell started predicting the Pyramid of Giza, and that's how he came with his measurements to even come up with 1914. See, 607 BCE and 587, that whole ordeal right there, when you disprove 607, the whole thing crumbles because everything is based off 607 BCE and 1914, which is their Bible prophecy chronology. But if you break that down, 587 and 586, all archaeologists knew that Jerusalem had fell during that time period. So how can it have been, 13 years later, 20-something years later, there's no way. So this is what this proves 607 altogether. But those are some of the things, I wouldn't even want to try to even go that deep with her. I just wanted to show her that I'm very serious. I loved her. I loved my wife. I was caring about because I have a daughter coming up in this, and I got to be able to know what to tell my daughter when she asks these questions, if she ever asks them. I don't want her to be Christmas to be taken away from her and stripped from her, and Thanksgiving to be stripped from her, and a birthday to be stripped from her, and her not get a chance to really know and experience life and not know why she can't. Like, I know some of the people that have said that when they were in classrooms as Jehovah's Witnesses, they couldn't stand up for Pledge of Allegiance. They had to be put in a certain room or certain side. Had this, everybody else standing up, they're in the side coloring book, they're outside the room. I don't want my daughter to be ostracized like this. She don't know why she got to go do that. Her mama just told her, hey, you got to go over here, stand over here. But I don't want my daughter doing this, or Easter basket. I don't want this. My daughter don't know why. At least allow her to make, if she decides to be a Jehovah's Witness when she gets older, that's her decision. But don't take it from her and then make her do it. And if she doesn't do it, you don't want anything to do with her, because now she's not in the same clique, cult, whatever you're in. Now you want to look at it like she, I can't talk to my own daughter type of thing. Or my daughter can't talk to me because she didn't want to be a Jehovah's Witness. That's the part, emotional control that I want my daughter to be under. That's why I'm so passionate and adamant about what I'm doing.
It's amazing too, because everyone I speak to that end up in a relationship with a Jehovah's Witness, they end up going and doing all of this research. They learn everything. I mean, they know more about the religion.
Yes.
People, probably know more about the religion than I do. And I was raised in it and did my research after I left, but you really did a lot of research.
Oh, wow. I got so much. I got a whole booklet this thick of stuff. I got like emails. I actually sent you some emails or some things to just look at, but I actually have like links. JWFacts.com helped me a lot. I looked at some stuff that was talking about the different chronology as far as night all the way up the timeline, dealing with their different periods, the different presidents, all the different policies, how they've changed, beliefs clarified, how they've changed the beliefs from one thing about blood. At one point, they could take blood. Then they changed it, you couldn't take blood. Now you can take fractions of blood. Now it's a conscious decision. What about all the folks that died before? They didn't take blood at all because you changed a policy. So if it's a policy, why does the policy have to change? Because, God's word supposedly doesn't change. So if God is the same today and yesterday and forevermore, why are you changing? Why are you saying 1919 that Jesus, he looked at a faithful, discreet slave and appointed us? Well, why did nobody else know about this appointment? Why y'all get appointed yourself and now all of a sudden we are the faithful, discreet slave in Matthew they was talking about? That goes to show you, truth has to be under scrutiny. If it's the truth, if your name is Lady C, whatever your name is, it should be under scrutiny. I should be like, okay, show me your ID. Show me your driver's license. Show me something, proof of identification. My name is Stephen. Here's me. This is me. You should be able to prove that.
And Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't do that. Jehovah's Witnesses are like, at the Kingdom Hall, we're going to talk to these members like this. And they know exactly what they're not supposed to do and all these rules. But then when they go out to the public, they try to make you think that they're normal people. Oh, we don't do that. Oh, that's not true. We believe in this. We believe in that. We don't. They will downplay everything.
Yes.
And then you don't find out until you're in a relationship.
Yes. And see what happened with me being in a relationship, the things that she didn't ever tell me that I had to do until I started getting close to being baptized. Until I got to the point of almost finishing this book, that's when I started realizing if I didn't do X, Y, and this and believe this or go here, that's when I could be disfellowship or, and I'm asking these questions up front about disfellowship because I heard about it, but they didn't want, well, let's not talk about that. You're trying to talk about a policy. That's not really what's important. Let's talk about who Jehovah is. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what his name is. Let's talk about, how to resist spirits and all these different things that's in this book, And I'm like, you gonna come to my house and sell me AT&T Direct TV. Tell me everything that I'm gonna sign up for when I sign my name on this dotted line. Don't come and then tell me, hey, we're gonna set you up with AT&T. You're gonna have this box. This box is gonna be able, you would not ever have Wi-Fi forever. I don't care if a storm comes. This new box right here, you're gonna always have Wi-Fi. And then all of a sudden, a storm comes and I've signed up for it, and then my Wi-Fi is going off, and then you say, well, you can't get a new box because under this here, well, we meant to tell you this, but you weren't really signed in yet, but we have to get you a whole new box. No, you told me the box I had was like lifetime. Say that up front. What are people getting themselves up to when you come to my doorstep? What are you really trying to tell me? Because if you came to my door and told me, well, I'm just letting you know, the world is going to be destroyed. We just come in and let you know this is the message of, hope, but it's a message of doom and gloom too, that, Armageddon is coming. And if you don't get baptized and come to Kingdom Hall in the next 6 months, you're going to be destroyed. I'm sorry. What are people going to do? Man, if you don't get off my doorstep, thank you. I ain't got time for your nonsense. I'm trying to spend time with my family. You see what I'm saying? It's like, they're not going to do that. But they want to bait. What we're talking about, bait and reel. And that's what the whole relationship thing was about. I was giving baited and real then and didn't even know. Love bomb. And then when I didn't identify or agree with certain things, I started being ostracized. Pushed away. Like, oh no, he's dangerous. This is protection for your daughter. Like, there were times when holidays were going on, like Thanksgiving, this last Thanksgiving. My wife didn't even tell me that my daughter wasn't going to be here because I wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving with her here. Just so happened because she was out of school with her other daughter, she went down and took her down to the country where her parents were, and then got back and told me, oh yeah, she's down in the country for Thanksgiving. She's not down there. She's not going to be down here. Didn't even give me an opportunity, which it was purposely done. Because if I can take her down there, now you got to go down there and get her or see her or whatever, but she's not going to be here in the city because I'm still working. It was always an excuse, a reason why you couldn't do this and couldn't do that, and that's why I know that's how I knew what I was dealing with. She plays me for stupid. Don't think I understand it though. I know way more than you think I know. Yeah.
Well, you've been through a lot.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So I think this is all I want to say like intentional strategic plot to embark on my daughter. Like I told you about my daughter saying, "Daddy, why don't you love Jehovah?" Daddy, Jehovah loves me. Jehovah loves you too. Trying to get me to see that it's okay. Because she want to plant that seed that if I can't do it, I'm gonna let your daughter do it. I'm gonna let your daughter, because that's what they did to her dad. Her dad finally came around, started to visit the Kingdom Hall, and now he got baptized. And in her eyes, he's a changed man. He's a better man. So in her eyes, it works. I've seen it. I've seen it work. And I can do it with my husband or my ex-husband or my child's father now. And I think that was part of the scheme, is to get my daughter, deeply entrenched and indoctrinated. And then eventually, if we're still together, whatever, eventually I'm gonna want to be with my family. And regardless of the insanity, that's insanity to do the same thing, with a different result. But keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I know what the change is. I know what the difference is. I know what the truth is about the truth. But I'm just gonna go with my family in a way like thousands of people are doing that are physically and mentally out. They're going just to be with their family because they're just gonna be with their family, but they already know this is a bunch of bull.
We would call her a flaky witness.
Mm-hmm.
A person that, they go as far as they can get to the fire without getting burnt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because to a witness at the Kingdom Hall, all the stuff she's putting you through, they would think she was flaky because she married a person that wasn't a witness. That would be her situation.
Her brother told me that. Her brother's an elder, and he lives in South Carolina area. And he said to me, well, she's just not the most mature person. Steve, just look over that. You keep studying, doing what you're supposed to do during the time I was studying. You keep studying, doing what you have to do. Don't let her discourage you with her imperfections, because she's imperfect. She's making mistakes. And remember, a tree bears fruit. He told me that. A tree bears fruit. So she's not always spiritually strong the way she needs to be, because if she was, she wouldn't have married you. He said that out of his mouth. He said it to me, and I was like, you're right. But now I look back at it, yeah, you are right. That's the reason why I shouldn't have married her, because she was dipping and dabbling on both sides. She was coming up to the fence, but wouldn't cross the fence. Come to the fence to get what she needed off the fence, but go back to her side.
Yeah, because how can she sit there and tell you to get baptized and do all these things when she wasn't even following the rules?
Yes.
And then she wants to hold you to this high standard. And then she's over here bumping and grinding, doing all this stuff. And with the music and all that. And so it's like they have a lot of cognitive dissonance going on.
That is exactly what it is. The psyche of like falling in love. And even in this book here, I just to get this, I had a couple things, quotes here. One was in the book that says single, married, separated, and divorced. It says, you have to think you are better than other people in order to judge them. Thinking you are better is not loving yourself. Most of the time, it is covering up hate. So I got that because you have to think you are better than others. She's often thought that she was better than others all the time. Me and anybody. She always was judging, pointing finger. Look at them and boom, 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 boom. And this is. And I said, like, why she always do that? But they're very judgmental of everything around them, but themselves. But they often do that because it's a cover-up of hate, a cover-up of something that she's doing inside. But this next side was for me. It said, that means the key is loving you, not other people. You can only love people to the extent that you accept and love yourself. So for me, on my side, on the reciprocation of that, I have to be able to love myself in order to be able to love someone else, to be able to give her what she wanted. If I was loving myself, we would have never got married, because I'd have been like, no, you know what? I love myself too much to be able to leave my church and leave my income that I have just to marry you, when that's not going to ultimately make you happy anyway. Because if you notice, most Jehovah's Witnesses are not really, really happy the way they need to be inside, because they're often changing, going through changes in their life. They're always trying to chasing after something. They don't know what they're chasing after.
So her personality coupled with the religion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it made me go through changes. I'm jumping through hoops trying to please her, let alone I didn't even know who I was. So that's why I read that, to say you have to love yourself first. I have to know who I am first. And then when she go through changes, I got to stay consistent. Somebody got to stay steady. Somebody has to stay grounded and rooted in something. Like, okay, look, this is what we're going to do right here. We just got married. We need to make a plan. We had a child too soon. We didn't plan for our child. We just rushed it. And I didn't know what I was giving. If I'd have known what I know now, I'd have been like, okay, what do you feel about if I'm going to church and I want to celebrate this holiday, and then you got our child here? What happens when I want to take the child with me sometimes? Then she would have told me before we had a child, well, I don't really think my child is going to go to church with you, or I don't think my child is going to go to home with you to celebrate this holiday. Or if she has a blood transfusion, well, she's, we're going to have to do what Jehovah say. Then I would have been like, you know what? You're crazy, and I need to hurry and get out of this marriage, because I can't have a child with you, because we're going to bump heads. But I didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So
the relationship was one thing to get married, and then to go down that rabbit hole and have a baby, that was a whole nother ball of wax.
Whole nother ball game. You have to plan and strategize for everything. And when you don't strategize for it, now you're like, okay, how do I provide? What am I supposed to do? Like, she wants me to go to work and come home. I want to go to work and go to another job to be able to provide, because I need multiple jobs to do what I have to do to provide. Or I want my child to be able to do Christmas stockings for Christmas. All the other kids use Christmas stockings on their door, and she can't do it because you don't want her to do it. So now that's going to be an argument we're going to have at home. We're going to be fighting at home about that. So there's just so many different issues like that need to be discussed before having a child, when you're a Jehovah's Witness and somebody that's an unbelieving mate, or somebody that's a worldly person.
It can be rough.
My best friend that's close to me did tell me, he said, I just didn't think she was the one for you. And I said, why? He's just like, because, man, like, I feel like it was rushed. And he was the best man at my wedding. I had 2 best men. And he was the best man at my wedding, but he said because y'all not equally yoked. Not because she's just not in Christian church, but because y'all don't even share the same values and stuff. It's going to be you making all the changes and compromise. And with marriage and relationships, it has to be a compromise together. Like, 2 have to compromise, not one compromise for everything. And that's what he kept saying, like, you ain't going to be that long. He kept saying, you ain't going to stay that long. Because I know you. You like to go, you like to do things, and she wants to just be with family. But her reason for being with family like this is because they're all Jehovah's Witnesses. So they do everything together, socials together, gatherings together, all this stuff together. And then you're the only person who's not a Jehovah's Witness in the mix there with them. Like, I'm going to tell you, my bad. One last thing I got to tell you. So Super Bowl, I didn't know this. Super Bowl, her family loves sports. So no, it was Super Bowl. Yeah, it was Super Bowl. And the national anthem was coming on. So every time the national anthem comes on, for anything, they grab the remote and press mute. And I'm looking around like, why did they press mute? In my head, I didn't ask. And so I'm like, this is crazy. So every time, even with the basketball games, like with the NBA playoffs, I think this year it was the Golden State Warriors and the Cavaliers were playing 2 years in a row they played. And both years in a row when they played, they mute the national anthem every time. I'm like, this is so crazy. Like, if you don't want to hear it, just, you know what it says, or what it's saying, like, what's so bad about it? I know what they know it says so bad about it to them because it's pagan or whatever, but still, like, patriotic or whatever. But, I mean, I didn't get it. So they had this family reunion, and their cousin is a good friend of mine. He's a drummer as well. He came in there when they all were together, like, mixed in with the other family members. And so, like, Jehovah's Witnesses sitting right here, like, sister, her cousins and brothers or whatever, and then it was like her uncles and all of them. They watching this big old game. Super Bowl came in, and so they tried to grab the remote and like, to do that. No, he said, no, y'all ain't. Give me this remote. He said, y'all gonna keep this on. If y'all don't want to hear it, y'all walk out and go over here. Like, that's how that side of their family are. They're very, like, stern with them. You ain't gonna come here and bring that mess in here, like, trying to make us live in y'all reality. No, y'all gonna live like everybody else. If y'all want to deal with it, go outside or walk around over here or do this until it's over and then come back. But you're not gonna mute this and make us sit here like this is not normal. This is not normal behavior of normal human beings. They don't mute the TV because they mute the TV if it's like cussing going on and you got a kid watching, or change the channel if there's some profanity or some nudity or something going on, you know. But it's the national anthem for the Super Bowl. It's the halftime show. It's this, and you muting it because you don't want to see anything about the flag. Like, get out of here with that. And that's what he did. It was a funny thing.
It's funny.
So going forward with her, that's how I started treating them. Like, when they try to do that, I'd be like, man, y'all, like, this is my TV. We're gonna watch Beyonce sing this national anthem. Or we're gonna watch, you know, John Legend or whoever it is sing this. Like, you don't want to hear it, then hold your ears, you know, hold your eyes. But you don't change our narrative and change our environment because that's what you're uncomfortable with. It's not fair.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for being on The Critical Thought. We really appreciate having you on the program. You've given our viewers a lot to take in, and, you know, we look forward to having you on the show again. And this has been Lady C, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Okay.
This program was sponsored by Critical Thinkers.